What's up guys, it's Wombat, and today we're back with a video that's actually been a long time in the making. So ever since the release of Drain Fafnir, and I guess the predominance of left spin in May 2017, opposite spin matchups and Procession and Life After Death have become a huge part of the Burst metagame. So before we go forward with the rest of the video, it's important that you understand what Procession and Life After Death is. So if you haven't, make sure you check out this video I made a long time ago about spin stealers. It's mostly MFB content, but it's still applicable to Burst. But if you already know what that is, then we can go forward with the video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the different drivers and all their different matchups they have in both same and opposite spin. Keep in mind that this information is generalized based on the experiences of many different players, including myself. So your results may vary just because part variation is so wild in Burst. And this video is also going to assume that using the optimal disc for each driver, whatever that might be. We'll get into that. We'll get into the optimal disc in the frame in a different video. This is just about the drivers for now. Yeah.
So the first driver I'm going to talk about is Revolve. It has pretty good same spin performance since it will outspin, destroy, hold, and eternal in same spin. In terms of stamina, it's about equal with bearing, extend plus, and absorb, but has an advantage over bearing and absorb just because of the risk of self-bursting or self-KOing that those two have if they're launched hard. However, due to its cone shape, it gets destabilized and outspun in same spin by atomic. But in opposite spin, Revolve loses to pretty much any other competitive stamina driver. And even though it has the worst opposite spin performance out of all of the drivers discussed in this video, it's still capable of beating Orbit, Cycle, Yard, Ultimate Reboot, Loop, Guard, and pretty much any other driver that doesn't even make it to this video in opposite spin. Atomic is probably one of the best drivers in the game at the moment because it has probably the best same spin performance out of pretty much any driver. Because of its ball shape, it can destabilize all of the cone shape tips like Revolve, Eternal, Bearing, Absorb, and Extend Plus. And it's got more raw stamina than Destroy and Hold. And pretty much anything in the game except for maybe Orbit or Defense. In opposite spin though, it's not that great. It loses to almost all of the competitive stamina drivers except for Revolve. Destroy and also Destroy Dash are kind of at a weird spot in the meta. They'll outspin Revolve, Eternal, Absorb, Atomic, and Octa in opposite spin, but have some of the worst same spin stamina, meaning that they will get outspun by pretty much any competitive stamina driver except for Hold. Normally they're supposed to make up for this with their offensive potential, but in a game where attack is relatively weak, this doesn't really offer much of an advantage. Bearing is also probably one of the best drivers in the game, as it's able to outprocess basically any driver in opposite spin, with the only arguable exception to this being Extend Plus. In terms of raw stamina, it's also pretty good as it's on par with Revolve, Absorb, and Extend Plus, but due to its weaker spring it has the risk of self-bursting if it's launched too hard to outspin any of these same spin options. However, with top tier layers like Hell Salamander, Archer Hercules, and Chosi Spriggan being pretty difficult to burst already, it's much safer to deal with it using same spin Atomic than risking same spin Revolve or Extend Plus against it. For Eternal, in terms of its matchups, it's basically a Destroy that's safer to use because it can outspin Revolve and Atomic in opposite spin. It goes about even with Absorb, but it loses to Destroy, Bearing, and Extend Plus. And in same spin, it can outspin Destroy, but that's pretty much about it, unless it's against maybe same spin Bearing and can burst it. What made it a safer option than Destroy was that I could counter left spin Atomic without having to worry about Destroy's bad stamina and KO defense, or Bearing's bad burst defense, but in that sense, it's outclassed by Extend Plus, which outperforms it in both spin directions pretty much. Absorb is kind of a weird driver that doesn't see much use. Theoretically, it's got the best of both worlds between Revolve and Eternal, because it has Revolve stamina with Eternal's Procession, but the absorb break gimmick that it has means that if you launch it too hard, it's most likely going to self KO. For all intents and purposes, it's outclassed by Xtend Plus, which has about the same spin stamina with no self KO risk, and will outspin more things in opposite spin. Xtend Plus is the other best driver in the game right now. It can outspin basically any driver in opposite spin except for maybe Bearing, and it's tied for the second best same spin performance with Revolve, Absorb, and Bearing. Of its three modes, Stamina mode is the best for same spin, and in opposite spin Stamina mode's also very good, but some people have gotten better results with attack mode. Either way, the only reliable way to defeat it is pretty much to destabilize it with same spin Atomic. There are two other drivers that can be thrown into the mix, but I'm really not quite sure where to put them, and they are Hold and Octa. So I mentioned earlier that your results may vary based on your part variations, but for Hold, the degree to which this part varies makes it really difficult to place. The Hold that I have and that I use in tournaments, it's at least on par with Destroy, if not a bit better, but some people have a Hold that's so bad it can't even spin Defense, the driver defense, in opposite spin. So the only thing that's universally true about all Holds though is that its same spin stamina is pretty pathetic, probably worse than all the drivers mentioned in this video except for maybe Destroy. And even some of them that aren't even mentioned, like Defense, will probably outspin Hold in same spin. And Octa's performance seems to be a lot more consistent than Hold's, though it's a pretty uncommon part, so I don't know a ton about it. In opposite spin it'll beat Atomic and lose to Destroy, so it's somewhere in the same range as Absorb or Eternal, but I'm not sure how it compares to those two specifically. No clue on that same spin performance either, but it seems to be highly dependent on the overall balance of the combo, and just looking at the shape, it probably gets easily destabilized by Atomic. Just because of its weight, its burst resistance isn't too great either, though it does offer some KO defense. So that's basically it for this video actually. I made this cool infographic that I'm gonna make you watch through the whole video just to see. But either way, driver matchups are a super important part of the burst metagame nowadays, and knowing them is one of the keys to being a better competitive player. But yeah, thanks for bearing with me all this time. I hope you found this video informative. There's gonna be a part 2 with frames coming out soon, but I don't know how soon. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.